Hi, you guys. I'm Lindsay. Welcome back to Inside the Hem, and welcome back to our series where we are recreating Draper James ready-to-wear garments using fabrics from the new Draper James and JOANN collaboration. If you missed yesterday's video, I shared a bunch of inspiration for the eyelet fabrics. Today, we're going to be looking at the floral cotton fabrics. I have paired up the many floral cotton fabrics with Big 5 patterns to help recreate some actual Draper James garments. So I am, as we go through this series, trying to find different designs. Obviously, everything that we made or that we looked at for the eyelet video, you could definitely make those patterns out of this too and would be equally beautiful. But to kind of give us some variety as we go throughout, I was looking for some alternative designs. So this one is a completely button front dress. It has a princess seam top to bottom, no waist seam from what I can see. It has a V-neck, a little gathered puff sleeve, which, as you can tell, Draper James loves. Kind of this lantern sleeve. And what I think is super cute about this is that they added this little lace trim. I believe that this lace trim is literally just sewn on top. If you look right here, I can't zoom in anymore, but if you look right here, you can see some of the white flowers underneath it. So first up, we have the most look-alike. This is Butterick 7005. This one just came out, and I remember when I did my first review video on it, I was kind of like, meh, I don't know. But if we look at the line drawings and we start taking things away, right? So we take away these these pocket flaps, which I think are really what give it that 40s look. So does the cuffs on the sleeve. If we take these away, if we get smaller buttons and more of them, you can see there's maybe 11 or 12 buttons on our inspo garment, and this one only has 8, so we'd almost be increasing them by 50%. So they're smaller, they are placed closer together, and you can make that alteration really, really easily. Secondly, we would be adding more of a lantern sleeve. Really easy to do. You're just slashing and spreading the sleeve, and then you're putting elastic in the bottom like they have here. Don't overthink it. It's really, really easy. The only thing we would be missing is the gathered sleeve on top, like the gathered sleeve cap. You can also slash and spread the sleeve pattern piece to accommodate a more full sleeve cap. That's also very easy to do. I'm not entirely sure it's necessary, but yes, you could make the sleeve bigger top to bottom. And then altering this to be a V-neck versus a crew neck. Again, I don't know that that is like a huge deal. You could probably leave it like this and it would be just fine. No one would be the wiser. It would still look really, really cute. But you do have your princess seams top to bottom, princess seams top to bottom, and a center back seam, just like our inspiration has. Okay, so some honorable mentions are going to be Vogue 2031. I chose this one because it has the lace detail kind of already built in. So if that's what you absolutely love about our inspiration, you could make this button front shirt. You could extend it into a dress if you wanted. But you'd really be leaning into the lace inset of it all. Now these lace insets are I guess it's reverse applique. They're actually sewn in to where they are sheer. I think that this is still very Draper James coated. I think that they, love a collared. They love a little gathered forward shoulder. This has a gathered sleeve, lantern sleeve, elastic at the bottom. There's a lot of things about this that I think Draper James, could make something that looked like this. And then we also have Simplicity 3002. I chose this one because it has the princess seams and the gathered sleeve and the fuller sleeve to where you would add the elastic down here. Again, you could definitely extend this into a dress. and it would mimic our inspiration. This one would just have a collar. So another button front shirt that I think could be made into something inspired by our ready to wear version. Okay, next up we have the Libby top. All right. So this top is very interesting to me. It is a very simple, basic, square, boxy top. I think it has bust darts, but I'm 99% sure it's a raglan. Don't we see that there? Maybe even a seam line here, also kind of hard to see. The thing that I loved about this one the most is the ruffle neckline. This is a little keyhole. The ruffle is just such a sweet little idea, right? But you can get a really good idea of the construction here. If you've ever sewn like a t-shirt and you know that you add your neckband, and then in some patterns they'll have you put a piece of bias over that seam. That's all they've done here. It's the exact same application. You just sew the ruffle right sides together with the bodice, press it up really good, and then you'd be attaching your bias tape around here. So taking inspiration from this, we have Simplicity 9678. Yes, this is a dress, but we could easily make it into a top. Again, we've got the raglan sleeve. We've got a fuller bodice kind of gathering up into this neckline, which is important because the ruffle isn't what's creating all these gathers up here. That's being gathered into the neckline, and then the ruffle's being added as an accent. So you would have to add your ruffle here. You would reduce the sleeve. You maybe even just use this sleeve here and make it the same length as this one, but shorten it. And then you'd remove all of this other stuff and cut it at this length, and then just not do any elastic. You could also do the dress. I mean, the dress is super cute as well. I don't know that I love like the styling of this one, but it is a really cute dress. But you'd have to imagine like a little ruffle added here. Next we have McCall's 8482. This one is sold as a set with the skirt. Keep the skirt in mind for later. But again, you can see it all gathers up into this neckline. You'd be adding your ruffle detail there. It does not have a raglan sleeve, but I don't know that that is really what makes the top. To me, what makes the top is the neckline. You would leave the elastic out and just create like a normal length top, or lean into it and make this whole set. We'll look at a skirt out of cotton a little bit later. So our next inspiration is McCall's 8256. This one has raglan sleeves. It has the gathered neckline, and it is a top. The only difference is that this neckline is a lot lower and a lot more open than our inspiration. But some of you don't really like a top that is so high on the neck. Some of you that's important, but some of you want to show a little bit more skin. So this would be your option for that. The sleeve here would probably be most ideal. You would shorten it and remove the elastic band so it wouldn't have this detail, or just make it like it is, add the ruffle, and I think it would still be equally as beautiful as our inspiration. Lastly, we have this option here, Simplicity 9782, another raglan sleeve. The sleeve is already shortened. This one has a band and a button front. So again, inspired, right? Not exactly the same as our inspiration, but I think again, it would still be super beautiful if you either turned this neckband into the ruffle or added the ruffle into the band. You can see we have a little bit of space on our neckline here where we could add a ruffle. The sleeve on C is a little bit more fluttery, so maybe even a B sleeve would be good, or a shortened. So if you want a button front option, I think this is really cute as well. Okay, next for our inspiration, I found this May Love Circle dress. This is a cotton dress, princess seams again, but this one has a waist seam. And what I think is super interesting about this one is the exposed zipper. We used to do this a lot in like the mid 2010s, like 2015-ish. We loved an exposed zipper. Loved an exposed zipper. I haven't seen one in a minute, so I thought this was a fun take on a cotton dress. Quintessential Draper James detail is a ruffle in an unexpected place. So they put a little ruffle into the sleeve cap. You can do this to any pattern you want. This is not something that we're going to find in a pattern already, but all you do is, create this cute little strip of a ruffle and you stick it into your arm side. You can also see this one is unlined. It just has a bias binding neckline finish, and you could see in some of the pictures too, the underneath of the sleeve, this is just a baby hem also. The skirt hem, same, just a little baby hem. Okay, so for pattern inspiration, we really have to be inspired here. I could not find a pattern that was like this at all, but with a little bit of creativity and some very simple pattern hacks, you can get here. The most similar in that it had an exposed zipper is McCall's 8553. So this is a more loose fitting dress. It is a shirt dress in that it has a collar and it has these patch pockets with a gathered skirt. The skirt does have panels and it has little pockets in the panels. It has the Draper James puff sleeve that we love so much. Removing some of these details, like removing the pockets and making it a little bit cleaner, would be step one. You could also extend the zipper all the way down. The next option is to just take a princess seamed dress and turn it into a fit and flare. You would keep these princess seams, and kick this out to be an A-line. There's already a seam under here. Sleeve wise, you would just make these shorter, and then, but imagine this with an A-line skirt and a shorter sleeve. You'd be really close. You could, if you wanted, cut this down the center and add your zipper. You just want to make sure that in addition to cutting this, like cutting the center front knot on the fold, you'd have to add your seam allowances back in and probably also add some kind of facing to give your zipper some stability underneath the zipper. Okay, so no lining. So that leads me to believe that it is a faced neckline. So you would just take your neckline facing, which is like this little shape here, and you would go down and they would come down this way. And then same thing on the other side. So just mimic, be all one piece. Just make it all one piece. Next, we have this version that already has the seam up the front. This one is a button, but you would turn it into a zipper. Super simple to do. This one does have a bit of a V-neck, and it already has this kind of similar sleeve. Gather wise, again, Draper James loves a gather, so I don't think this would be out of the question in terms of something that they would already produce. So I would leave it. So remember the set we were looking at earlier? So this skirt here has an elastic waist and has a whole bunch of ruffle details cut on the bias here and here. Very, very similar to what is going on with this one. This skirt, it's an elastic waist, but then it goes into a one tier here, a second tier here, your third tier, but if you notice this, that is a ruffle. They've added a little itty bitty ruffle in between the second and third tiers. Again, just a little detail that Draper James does. They love ruffles and they're going to put them wherever they possibly can. So there it is in the back. Again, ruffle tier here with the ruffle added in. Ruffles on ruffles on ruffles, right? This is an elastic waist skirt, guys. Okay, this is nothing revolutionary. So, options. Got Butterick 6999. Okay, very similar already without any hacking at all. It even has like the multi-layer elastic. And this one also has an option for trim. So this is pom-pom trim. You would be eliminating pom-pom trim, and then just putting in your ruffle trim as directed in here. This is the women's version of this one. Same pattern, different size range. And then finally, we've got Laura Ashley. I am probably going to have a Laura Ashley as inspiration in every single one of these videos because in my mind, Draper James design team is literally pulling up old Laura Ashley catalogs as inspiration because they are so much alike. So these are the line drawings, not the best. Only line art for the back. That's fun. Okay, so we have an elastic waist skirt with a bunch of different casings for the elastic, and then this uses pin tucks. So not the ruffle detail that Draper James had, but a detail nonetheless. I would leave this, whatever, undercoat, petticoat, whatever they're called, I would just leave that off. Next, we have the Henrietta mini dress, and I love this one because it looked so simple and sleek, which is, if you've been paying attention, kind of unlike Draper James. So this makes the fabric shine. This is simply a empire waist dress, princess seams in the bodice, big thick straps, and a kind of like an A-line skirt attached. No gathers, no pleats. Here's the back. Again, princess seams here. So for inspiration, I went to Brandy Joan McCall's 8550. We've got a empire waist, princess seam bodice. You would leave it sleeveless. Obviously, it wouldn't have the separate strap pieces, but you get the same vibe. We also have, what was this one? Simplicity 9552. This is your bodice, and then you would attach a A-line skirt to this. Neither of these. You would just find an A-line skirt in your stash or draft one. They're really, really easy to draft. Don't be overwhelmed. Don't be overwhelmed. It's not that hard. I promise. I promise it's not that hard. This one has the button detail, but you could obviously just sew these into the whatever this is, lined or facing. You would just sew that into that seam. And then finally, we've got, what is this? New Look 6390. This is our inspo here. So this is more of a circle skirt, making this a little bit more of a fit and flare than our inspiration, but it has the princess seams with the separate strap pieces, and then same thing in the back. This one is not empire waist. This sits at your natural waist, so you could shorten your bodice and remove the waistband, or you could just make it like this. It's still really cute too. You don't have to have it be exact. You could definitely just be inspired by. All right, so again, really quickly, here's the inspo for our floral cottons. With the right fabric and pattern pairing, you can bring a little Draper James charm into your handmade wardrobe. Let me know in the comments which fabric is your favorite and what you'd like to make with it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and click the notification bell so you don't miss the next video in our series. Happy sewing!